to, with the help of the Federation, put our meetings on YouTube so others of our members can access them that aren't able to come in person.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And if anyone doesn't want their picture recorded or their voice, leave the camera off and mute your mic, and you're totally anonymous. You can just listen and watch, I guess. So, unless I'm hearing an objection, we will proceed with the recording, and we hope, Major, that's okay with you.
That's fine with me, no problem.
All right, just a moment.
My kids will love that. They're already building the case so that when someday they can embarrass me at a retirement ceremony or something.
Okay, Glenn, if you're ready, I'm going to start. First of all, we always start with a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Glenn, if you can bring up the flag.
Right, just a moment. Go. All right.
I ask if you're able to stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. All right. I want to welcome everyone that is on this morning. And Jim, I will turn it over to you to introduce Major Craddock.
Okay. I want all of you to know, and also Major Craddock, that Bob Fetterman, who was going to introduce you, is stuck in the doctor's office.
Uh-oh.
He's been there since about 8:15. He called me about 10 till 10 and said, I don't know when I'm going to get out of here. And so could I do the honors? And I said, well, I'd be happy to. First, I do want to tell you, my family and I are supporters of the Salvation Army.
Thank you.
And there are lots of reasons to support the Salvation Army. First, you guys do a heck of a job, and you do it at the least possible cost when you compared with other charities, and that's much appreciated. I have been down to the Salvation Army headquarters, I believe the old one, not the new one, and I have actually seen some of the work you do, and it is really good. And I know you're going to tell us about it today. You've probably been faced with some extraordinary challenges with the coronavirus, and as we all have to some extent, but we certainly look forward to what you have to say, Major, and with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, everyone, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you today. This is a fairly new experience for me in that I don't normally present to groups over Zoom. And so I usually have nice PowerPoints behind me, so at least there's something interesting to look at besides just me. And but I do appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you and tell you what's happening with the Salvation Army. And as Jim related to us, it has been a very challenging time for us in the service arena, specifically in regards to sheltering and helping families stay in their homes and those types of issues that we've been dealing with. So just a few things I want to share with you today about what's happening at the Salvation Army in regards to the challenges we have in sheltering, our capital campaign of how we're going to expand services throughout the Cape Fear area. And then, of course, our favorite subject of all time is the Christmas season, which is so vitally important to us as the Salvation Army. And so we continue. We're going to see if this works or not. I made flashcards for everybody, and that's backwards on mine. So I don't know if it's backwards on your screen or not either.
No, it's good.
That looks good. Good, because it's backwards on mine, which means that I'm backwards on the screen too. So there it goes. But our theme, our rallying cry of build hope.
You may end your speech early.
Well, that's okay.
Going backwards.
Yeah, that's might be good for y'all that I ended up early. That's okay. So anyway,
we'll let you know.
Thank you. Well, if I start seeing screens disappear on me, I'll know it's time to stop talking. So, but thank you very much. So everything we do, we center around the rally cry of build hope. How can we, with families throughout the Cape Fear area, build hope? And for our unit of the Salvation Army, those service areas are Columbus, Pender, Bladen, Brunswick, and New Hanover counties. That's what our office. So we're the Salvation Army of Cape Fear, and our rally cry, of course, is build hope. Our goal. We have a strategic 10-year plan. We're in year number 3 of that plan of how can we take the Salvation Army from a Wilmington-centric organization to a Cape Fear-centric organization, and do that through how can we expand our social services, our family stores, our Christmas efforts, and we're taking advantage of Hurricane Florence. Not many things you can say about Hurricane Florence that brought advantages to things, but we were able to move our food trucks and our social services all throughout the Cape Fear area, and it opened some doors for us and able to move the Salvation Army services out through the entire Cape Fear area. Before then, if you wanted to access the Salvation Army, you had to come to Wilmington. We're trying to make it where now you can access the Salvation Army services much closer to home. So having said all that, it was Jim said, we're having some challenges in this COVID area of housing people. We have a shelter, the Red Shield Shelter in downtown Wilmington. Here's my little flashcard so you can see what we're talking about there. Our family store and our shelter, that was damaged during Hurricane Florence. We had to shut down for a while. We opened back up a year ago, May, and we can house 58 people in that shelter. Right now, we can only house about 25 because of the social distancing requirements with COVID-19. We're currently under the regulations of the health department, the same as any long care facility is, because we're a residential place. You may or may not know that at the Salvation Army, when you come as a homeless individual, you are able to stay with the Salvation Army for up to 6 months. And in that 6-month time, you're meeting with one of our caseworkers, and we're crafting you a plan of how you're going to move from your crisis point to a stability point. And we do that by looking at what we call a strength-based model. A lot of services around homeless people or people in need, families in crisis, for example, say, what's the problem? What do we got to solve? The Salvation Army looks at it and says, what's going right and how can we build on that? So we take an interview with these individuals and families and we say, what's strong about your family? What's strong about you? Maybe that you've got a car, you've got transportation, you've got a job skill, and how can we build a plan around you? And you build this plan with us and bring you from your crisis point to a place of stability. It's interesting. I work with kids a lot, as many of you probably have had, and when you ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? I've never had anyone say to me, when I grow up, I want to be a bum living at the Salvation Army. I've never had that. And so our function, our hope is, our building hope in them is to build them a plan of how they can succeed and be successful and have stability in their life. Here's how we define that. When you come through our 6-month program, we craft this plan for you. We enroll you at Cape Fear Community College. So you're a student with a student ID. That gives you access to audit classes and to access their library and their computer lab. And we have professors who actually come to the Salvation Army and teach classes as well. Budgeting classes, how to present yourself at an interview, how to build resumes, how to cook, how to give nutrition for yourself, so that you have a wraparound of service around you. Now, we define success for that as 6 months after you graduate our program, do you still have stable housing and do you still have stable employment? And we have an 80% success rate currently of people who graduate the Salvation Army's program and 6 months later are still housed and still have employment. May not be the same house, may not be the same job, but they're still stable. And then they can always come back as a graduate and utilize services as needed as well. Now, that particular program is one of our strengths at the Salvation Army. So when we go into our new construction, my next little flashcard here, because I haven't learned how to share my screen on Zoom yet, we're looking at expanding that opportunity to families. One of the areas in Cape Fear that we have a gap in service is how can we take a family, a homeless family, and move them out of their crisis points and bring them to a stability point. And this new facility that we're building, which is out on the end of 30th Street, is going to include 8 apartments for families to come together and move through their what we call our life skills program together as a family, so that we build a caseworker around them. They have their own assigned caseworker. They build a plan together, which can include everything from how do I educate my children to how do I transport, how do I get my job, how do I connect with Cape Fear Community College, and graduate them as a family together. So we're super excited about that at the Salvation Army, and being able to expand that Red Shield shelter to include families, homeless families as well. That's going to be out on the end of 30th Street, right across the Martin Luther King Highway from the airport. And so we'll be strategically placed between Glow Academy, the new Police Fire Training Center, the Creekwood community. But that building is going to be the linchpin of how we expand the services of the Salvation Army throughout the Cape Fear area. So we've just started our first social service office outside of Wilmington is in Hampstead over in Pender County. We're in negotiations over in Columbus County, and I always say this city's name wrong because I'm originally from Oklahoma, so I say these words different. In the Wyville area, or in Wyville, I think it's Wyville, how they pronounce it here, and then over in Elizabethtown as well. And then we'll see how that solidifies and move forward from there. We're also building our family store footprint so that we can expand our family store operations. Those family stores that you see throughout Cape Fear, our newest one is in Hampstead. That's going to support that Hampstead family store and family on that social services office. And those family stores give my caseworkers an avenue of giving stuff away. So we have a family that needs clothes. We have an individual that needs clothing or furniture for a new house, or they're burned out of their housing and we're trying to reestablish them with our partners at the Red Cross. Gives my caseworkers an avenue of place that we can utilize items and give that to those families. But what we also found, the second purpose for those family stores is there's a large contingent of our population that likes to be self-sufficient, and they can shop our stores at drastically reduced prices versus retail, provide for their families, keep their dignity and their pride intact. And then the third avenue for that store is it simply raises cash that we put back into the programs of the Salvation Army, which is one of the reasons why, Jim, we're able to do our programming and keep our cost ratio so well. Our last I-990, we were at over 90%, 93 cents per dollar goes to direct services at the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army standard is 86 cents per dollar. The national standard is 70 cents per dollar. And so we're pretty proud of that fact here in Cape Fear, that we can direct so much of our direct funding directly into programs that provide assistance, direct assistance to families and individuals. That same capital campaign project, one of the things that I'm personally very excited about is the addition of the community center, which is going to service specifically those Creekwood communities and get in there with those community partners. We're actually building a group of a coalition or an advisory council of people in that Creekwood community. We can come in and we can say we want to be good neighbors and we want to be able to provide services and programs to that Creekwood community that help community build. So we're going to focus on that community center. It's going to have a gymnasium. It's going to have athletic fields. And we're going to focus on education support, athletics, leadership development, character development, and my personal favorite, fine arts. And the reason we chose those particular categories is all of those are ladders out of ignorance and poverty, so that we can give a kid the experience, a fine arts experience, for example. We're going to put an instrument in their hands. I play cornet, for example. I have a degree in trumpet. And so we're going to put that instrument in that kid's hands and say, we're going to teach you how to play this instrument. It's automatic socialization. It's automatic. Look at this. I see it down there in the corner right there, right? That's fantastic. All right. And so we're going to give kids those opportunities. Now, one of the benefits of doing that with the Salvation Army is that we can then take kids from Wilmington and the surrounding areas, teach them how to play those instruments, and then once a month after coronavirus settles in, we're going to enroll them as much as we can, who's willing, who's available, into our Salvation Army Divisional School of the Arts, which meets in Denton, North Carolina once a month. It's 400 kids from across North and South Carolina that are doing the exact same thing that we're going to do here in Wilmington. and it gives them professional musicians that they're going to learn under. So it's dance, it's guitar, it's drama, it's music, it's brass, and give them a sense, allow them to see something bigger than what they see every day. We'll do the same with athletics. We'll do the same with leadership development, character development, and of course, education, which we all know is a direct ladder out of poverty and ignorance. Our goal with education is we want 75% of the kids who are enrolled in the Salvation Army's Community Center to pursue post-secondary education, whether that's a college, whether that's Cape Fear Community College, whether that's a trade school, learn how to fix stuff. Because I don't know about you, I can't fix my own air conditioner or my own car anymore, so I depend on other people. Let's give that vision to these kids about life after high school. So that's the whole thing about that capital campaign, in a very brief synopsis of what we're excited about at the Salvation Army. And then, of course, I'm thrilled to see I haven't seen any screens blank out on me yet, so we're doing good there. You probably are most people are familiar with the Salvation Army for two things. They see our trucks roll down the street as we're picking stuff up, and they know about bell ringing. And so that's going to happen this year. Now, the challenge for our bell ringing this year, a significant portion of our income occurs during the fourth quarter of the year, October through December, maybe even some into January. And a sizable portion of that is that red kettle effort every year. And so I appreciate this group because you've supported that for a number of years, and I greatly appreciate that. It's going to look a little different this year, as many of our national partners have not been able to commit that we could put our red kettles in front of their stores yet for a variety of reasons. Some of our partners, such as AC Moore, are no longer in business. And so we're looking at how we're going to manage that red kettle effort this year. We anticipate that our kettle income will decline about 50% nationally. That's going to hit us pretty hard here in the Cape Fear area as well. We're waiting on word from our national partners such as Walmart and Belk's and others. Hobby Lobby's already said yes, for example. And so we'll see how that goes. That's going to significantly impact how we accumulate funding. That red kettle income helps us not just at Christmas, but it also helps us throughout the year with other programs and services the Salvation Army offers, especially that Red Shield shelter, in helping those ladies and gentlemen complete their casework plans. This year, a lot of our Christmas efforts, our Angel Tree, we're going to adopt 2,500 kids for Christmas this year. And we're going to guarantee those 2,500 kids clothes and toys for Christmas. And those families, those mamas, we're guaranteeing them. And one of the reasons we do that is most kids that I talk with, most adults that I talk with, you have a favorite Christmas memory of some kind or another. And what I see resonates with a lot of people. There's something that we remember from our childhood or in our parenthood from our own kids that was a special event for them, impacting event. And that we try to replicate and give that same potential possibility to families all across Cape Fear. And that's why one of the reasons that Angel Tree is so important. We also find that by supporting families during the Christmas season, we find a significant reduction in the demand for rent and utility assistance come January and February because families haven't had to spend as much in the Christmas season. So that's why those particular programs are so important. So you may see the Angel Tree at the Independence Mall. And this year we've got we're developing a partnership with WECT that's going to allow us to put Weller's Wheels online. And we're also going to have our Angel Tree online. The entire Angel Tree application process will be online this year so that families can be safe in their homes and they don't have to travel to Wilmington or travel to one of our social services office. They can go online, complete their application for Christmas assistance, and connect with one of our caseworkers, everything online. We can actually communicate online. It's a phenomenal way to keep the personal interaction with families, but at the same time, keep them safe and social distance and make it much more convenient for the family making their application as well. So there's 2,500 kids that we promised already. I don't have anything in my warehouse yet. I don't even have a warehouse yet. I don't have a toy one yet. It's come in, but we've promised 2,500 kids Christmas. It happens every year. Cape Fear community is very, very generous in how they make that work. And so, friends, in a nutshell, that's pretty much everything that's happening at the Salvation Army currently. That, in the case of coronavirus, we're all watching hurricanes going everywhere. The Salvation Army is very active on the Gulf Coast right now. in providing hurricane assistance in regards to food and casework and along that Gulf Coast area. And we're still watching other storms, as you can imagine, we've also got teams out in Puerto Rico and in the Bahamas. And so I think the best thing I can do for you at this point, since I see all the screens are still on, can I answer any questions for anybody?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
About the angel tree. Is there a way that if we're not getting out and about much, can we do something to support that online?
Yes.
Or through the mail?
Yes, ma'am. Judy, thanks. That's a great question. We're actually placing our angel tree in 2 places this year. We'll have a live angel tree in Independence Mall, and then we will also have an online angel tree. And our website is www.buildhope.news. And when all that's set and
what's
ready,
the end of that?
.news.
News?
Yes, ma'am. And when that is all set and ready, it'll be ready by the mid-October. We take the applications in October, so by the 1st of November, that online angel tree will come on. You'll be able to adopt a kid online. The system will automatically send you emails when you enter your email address. Here's your child that you've adopted. Here's your deadline dates. It sends you reminders. And you'll also have the opportunity this year online to go to the Salvation Army and Walmart's partnership registry for good. This will all be on the website. Wow. That you can go and shop online for your child and have it shipped directly to the Salvation Army. You can also do the same thing that will happen with our Amazon wish list. And so you can actually, we try to design it where a person could sit in their home in their pajamas in front of their TV, adopt a kid, shop for your kid, have it shipped to the Salvation Army, and everything as normal happens, and you've never had to leave home.
Well, that sounds
that will
great.
happen through our website. Mm-hmm.
That sounds awesome.
We're very excited about that. We did a pilot project last year with 100 kids. It worked really, really well. This year, we're going to put multiple children on that online angel tree.
Perfect.
Mark,
I have another question if no one else. Sorry, Bob.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us
There's Bob.
Can you tell us about your journey to be where you're at with the Salvation Army now? How someone gets involved in the program as a member of the Salvation Army?
Certainly. I am actually personally, I'm the 7th generation of my family to be involved in the Salvation Army. And so we've got family pictures of my great-great-great-grandmother out in Billings, Montana, as singing on the street corner with her guitar and her Salvation Army uniform. And so I was born into the Salvation Army. My parents are Salvation Army officers. My grandparents were Salvation Army officers. And 2 of my 2 oldest sons are Salvation Army lieutenants, one in Conway, Arkansas, and one in Lynchburg, Virginia. And my personal story is when I was about 14 years old, my parents were the Salvation Army officers in Victoria, Texas. And I was just really getting into trumpet. Someone showed me the trumpet earlier this morning. And I was playing in a high school band, and I was invited to attend the Salvation Army's Territorial Music Institute in Denton, North Carolina. And so I traveled 2 days. I traveled from Victoria, Texas to Denton, North Carolina. And at that particular institute, God and my, as clear as you and I are talking today, God called me to be a Salvation Army officer. I was not happy about that at the time, to be honest with you. I had other things I wanted to do with my life, and it did not include Salvation Army officership. I saw my parents and grandparents doing that, and I wasn't interested. And at that point in time, my job in the Salvation Army is I was a recycler. I was bailing clothing to recycle at that point in time. That was my job as a freshman in high school. And so at that particular point in time, I mapped out my life plan of what I thought I would need to incorporate into my education to be a Salvation Army officer. I've got my degree in music education from Oklahoma Baptist University, as my parents were transferred up to Oklahoma. I met my wife in Oklahoma as well, and all my kids are Sooner born and Sooner bred. And I tell them all the time, if you keep messing with me, you'll be sooner dead. And so my wife and I became Salvation. We went to the Salvation Army Officer Training School in Atlanta, Georgia, back in 1990. And I was assigned as the new lieutenant in 1992 to Ada, Oklahoma, and then to Ponca City, Oklahoma. Then we slid over to the Tulsa, Oklahoma Command, to the Northwest Arkansas Command in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where I tell everybody I did my missionary duty in Fayetteville, Arkansas, as all them Razorbacks over there. And then I was sent to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex Area Command as one of their corps officers. Then to Baltimore, Maryland, and then here to Wilmington, North Carolina. So
Wow.
this is, I think, my 8th appointment as a Salvation Army officer. I'm starting my 4th year in Wilmington. And so this has been, I know people in Wilmington like to hear this, and I'm not bragging or blowing smoke or nothing. It's been one of our favorite places to be. I mean, first Sunday we were in Wilmington, my kids they were just upset, you know, because there were Oklahoma people. We're at the Plains, where's the Sunset, where's the Indians, where's the Buffaloes, where are all these things? And we're standing on Curie Beach. We were at Carolina Beach. The first Sunday we were here, we moved in on Saturday. Sunday afternoon, we went out to Carolina Beach, ate at Britt's Donuts because someone said you have to go there. And my oldest son, he was about 8, I think he was like 9 at the time. He looks at me, he's got a donut in his mouth, and he says, "Dad, I think we're going to like it here." So we've been good ever since. So,
I'd like to ask a question. First of all, I'm Bob Fetterman.
good to see you, Bob.
I had a doctor's appointment that waited and waited, and I'm sorry I was late. Did you mention your new facility that you're going to be
Yes.
downtown?
Yes. And we're building this facility in 2 phases. Phase 1 will be what we call the Center of Hope. That's the Red Shield Shelter Social Services, where the new family apartments will be. And we're actually in negotiations with some of the medical community. Can we bring a medical clinic into that place as well? And so that's going to cost us about $7.5 million. We've identified most of the funding for that. And our local advisory board is really taking charge of that process. So we're hoping that we keep getting pushed back because of coronavirus, but we'd hope to break ground this 4th quarter of this year. Now we're looking at the 2nd quarter of next year of breaking ground on that that Center of Hope. Phase 2 will be the community center, and that will round out another $6 million. Overall, it's about a $12.5 million project. So if anybody wants to just write me a $12 million check, we'll get started tomorrow. Other than that, call Marty at the Salvation Army, and he can help you if you know somebody might be interested in helping us out with that. But we're really excited. That's going to set the Salvation Army of Cape Fear up for at least the next century. We've been in Wilmington since 1887, started on Front Street, and then moved over to downtown on 2nd Street. This is over in our new facilities. We'll launch the Salvation Army, we're convinced, for at least the next 50 to 60, 75 years.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering about your staff. Do you have a fair amount of paid staff, or how do you work all that out?
I have depending on the time of year, anywhere from 35 to 50 people who work at the Salvation Army on a full-time basis between our shelters, our social services, and our family stores. A variety of positions. That's everything from the custodian to my production workers in my family store to my directors, my finance director. We do my family store director, my shelter director. So we have a variety of staff positions and lots of volunteer positions that we utilize as well to keep our staff numbers as controllable as possible. Unfortunately, during this coronavirus, being under the regulations of the health department has greatly reduced our volunteer opportunities.
Sure.
Usually we have a volunteer group every night in our Red Shield kitchen, for example, in the dining room there, helping prepare meals and serve meals. So that's been greatly reduced. As soon as the health department and the governor says we can go full bore again, we'll get those people going again. But you have to be bought into the mission of the Salvation Army to really work there a long time. And we've got some long-term employees who really they can make money, much more money working somewhere else in the private sector than they choose to be there. So they're really, we're fortunate. We have a very good staff.
And what about your funding sources? Is it mostly donations, or do you get grants, or?
It's a combination. It's a strategic mix of incomes. The vast majority of that is individual donations or corporate donations, what we call general donations. There is some foundation money, a very small fraction of federal dollars. We do that on purpose. We like the flexibility of building our financial model more on the donations. The challenge of that is like during the COVID, when donations naturally tend to slip a little bit, then we have to make other arrangements. But we keep our federal dollars and our restricted dollars at a minimum. It's a mix in there. It's a piece of it, but it's not a large piece.
Okay.
The vast majority of that is going to be individual donations, either through a kettle, a check, those types of things. Keeps everything very local.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Bob, you want to give us an update on our collections?
Yeah, I want to make a big push. First of all, Major, since I've been in coronavirus, I took up the trumpet again. I haven't played in 70 years. I had my first lesson last week.
Oh my goodness.
This is my grandson's trumpet.
Well, I have a very nice Bach 1010 short model cornet that I got out of storage, cleaned it up, and that's what I've been playing on, because in the Salvation Army, we use cornets. And so I feel your pain, partner. I know that hurt. That man, building those jaw muscles back up is just.
He's got good jaw muscles.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what.
It's not the same ones you talk with, so you got to build all that back up again.
Okay.
Yeah. Since you're not using your jaw muscles to eat at Golden Corral, you can use your method to write a check. Tom and Fran, I wish you'd get the notices out and keep them coming, as I don't know what Jim said in the beginning about that. Right now we've got $286 in checks to give you, and hopefully, as I say, the last 2 years we've been over $400. We've done this for about 10 years, and I think you're a wonderful cause, and some of our members are donating through NARFE, and they've also given you donations earlier in the year. So as I say, you're our charity, and we'll push and hopefully do a good job for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Can we go up to December 15th?
We can go all year. We can go to January 20th. You keep sending me the checks and I'll deliver them.
Well, I know that. I know you'll take those checks. We just want to make sure they go to the right place.
We'll just make sure they're made out to Salvation Army.
That's right.
I'm a good charity, but I'm not tax deductible.
Yeah. Well, and just for context, that 400. Let's just use a $400 number. It cost me approximately $1.70 per meal in my Red Shield shelter. And we reduced that cost greatly because we have partnerships with the food bank and our canned food drives and those types of things. So that $400, divide that, $1.70 per meal, that tells you how many meals that $400 feeds out of that Red Shield kitchen. I can't feed my teenage sons for $1.70 a meal on my own. So, so that's some of the ways that we're able to maximize your donations. And so, a lot of people, don't be embarrassed by $400. That's a fantastic piece that, we're greatly appreciative of. It makes a serious difference in lives of people.
Good.
We're saving our money by not going out to lunch. Maybe this year we can bring it up to $500 or $600.
That sounds great to me.
Certainly shoot.
I need Fran and Tom's help to push it out to. We've got 12 people here, and of the 12 screens on there, well, I guess 11 because Mark's screen is one of them. I account for 6 of the people on the screen have already donated.
Good.
Our checks in the mail tomorrow.
Bob, just a question. When we send out the minutes from our meeting regarding a note about the Salvation Army, you want the checks made out to the Salvation Army but mailed to you, and then you will turn over the bulk amount to Mr. Craddock?
Yes.
That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
I would like to be able to.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
So that the organization will know how much we have donated. Our organization will, make it. And as I say, we've done this for about 8 or 10 years, and I enjoyed, I guess, past tense, bringing the kettle and the bell to our meetings, and I can't do that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Maybe we can get a virtual kettle to put as on the minutes. Maybe get some graphic help with that. I'd like to add my couple comments with this. So Cheryl and I are among the 6 that have already submitted. My government career was, for most of my career, was as being the chief social worker at several VA medical centers across the country. And particularly in the Phoenix area, I was very involved with homeless services in each of the communities where we were located. The social work department relied a great deal on the Salvation Army in order to meet the needs of not only homeless veterans, but a variety of others as well. It was really a key component of what we did. And I want to reiterate that you guys do a fantastic job and have such a low overhead cost for administration that we're really impressed. We've stopped donating to some causes that don't come anywhere near what you do because of that. So, and we will be including these comments and really encouraging people to continue to support and send checks to Bob. And thank you for your very energetic and inspiring presentation today. We want to note that you have a very good hairstyle, like Bill and a couple others of colleagues here.
I've been sporting this one since I was about 17. So.
Oh my.
Yeah, me too. And had the beard since that time too, but it was red instead of white. Okay, anything else for the Major?
I just thank you very much, Major. Appreciate your participation.
Well, I appreciate the support of this group. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. And just a final reminder to everyone, I can do what I do because people like you stand behind us and support us. And so without that, we're pretty much powerless. So thank you very much. It's really people like you and others like you that we all come together and we build our community together. And that's how this works. And that's how we're impactful together. That's how we build hope together. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Mark.
If this was a real meeting, we'd be buying lunch for you right now. But
We owe him one.
so we owe you a lunch. And,
I'll take it whenever y'all are ready.
Right.
In the meantime, my wife packed my lunch. She's forcing my diet on me, so I've got to go eat lunch with her.
okay. So again, thanks for your participation today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
And we will hope to get this out on YouTube fairly soon and encourage. We have over about 130 members in our chapter, and others that are national members in the Wilmington area. So we will endeavor to get the word out to those folks that this will be available.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and leave your meeting, and I'll let you do your thing. And again, thank you all very much. Greatly appreciate you.
Good luck, Mark.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that was a great presentation. So, and Bob, thank you for putting that together, and we'll continue to push this along with Alzheimer's too. Is two of the things that we support, but particularly this time of year, we'll do the kettle, and if I can get some help from Henry with graphics, we'll figure out a way to put the kettle on, maybe on the minutes. I don't know. All right, I'd like to proceed with the business meeting. And let's see here. First of all, the minutes were sent out. I want to thank Cheryl and Judy for input and for giving for the minutes. I think we're trying to be, particularly where people aren't as able to come as regularly. So we're trying to put as much information as we can in the minutes, and we'll continue to do that. The minutes were sent out. Can I have a motion to approve them as emailed?
So
I make a motion the minutes be approved as emailed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Glenn, can you give us the treasurer's report?
All right. Current balance is $5,142.14. The only check written during the last month was the one to cover our Zoom account for the next year. And that's it.
Tom and Cheryl are thanking you for that check.
I move we accept the treasurer's report.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report's approved. I'm going to do the legislative report. And I guess the main thing, certainly, we all need to educate ourselves on the candidates and the issues, both at the national and local level. And please vote. There's still time to request a mail-in ballot if you don't feel comfortable going in person. Cheryl and I are going to try going to the early voting in Carolina Beach. Maybe wear 2 masks, I don't know, but we plan to do that. I want to call attention to the current issue of NARFE. Did you, the October issue, did everybody receive their paper copies?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's several things. One, both candidates for president were asked to respond to a questionnaire about their stance on NARFE issues. President Trump's office declined to said their position is they don't respond to any questionnaires this time. Vice President Biden did answer the questions, and I encourage you to read his responses there. The other thing is the annual congressional rating of on the votes of our senators and our congressional representatives is contained there. So you can see how our 2 senators and Congressman Rouser did, and take that in whatever level consideration you want in terms of making your best decision. Otherwise, I don't think much is happening legislatively between now and the election. I have not heard anything more about the post office issues. We'll just have to see. I did go to the NARFE website under legislation. There wasn't much new that I could find. So again, I think the magazine is pretty complete. If you read all the things related to legislation, you're pretty well informed. It's one of our great benefits.
I'll comment that the post office, the election mail has been wonderful for the post office, and the mail ballots and the advertisements.
Good point.
That's what I like it.
Good point. Good points. Let's see. Judy, NARFE PAC in Sunshine.
Okay. I know I'm preaching to the choir with NARFE PAC because all of those of us who are at this meeting are most likely the ones that give regularly because we're the most interested and the most involved in these things. But don't forget, if you haven't given, or even if you have given, please look at your NARFE magazine. There's always a donation form in there, and we need to support the candidates who will support us. I know before I came to the meeting, I looked online on our account, and Chaz's annuity was there, as always, the first of each month. That's not guaranteed to us necessarily because things can change. So let's be sure that that does not change, and we continue with the benefits that you all have worked so hard to earn.
Right.
And as far as sunshine goes, I don't have any sunshine except looking outside the window. But do we have any in our small group, any anniversaries or birthdays we can recognize?
Cheryl will be having one coming up in November.
Okay, well, we'll get her next month.
We have our anniversary coming up the end of the month.
Okay, well, happy.
Thank you, thank you.
Our 50th anniversary is coming up on the 24th of October.
Oh, great. Congratulations to you.
My birthday's October 9th.
Well, we do have a lot then.
It was my
Happy
dad's
birthday,
birthday.
Jim. It's hard to believe it's October already. In one way, this year has gone so slowly. In another way, it seems to be going quickly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It is a year we will not forget. That's
Right.
Fran and Walt, membership report.
The membership report, there were 2 people that was listed as having passed on. Levon Morgan, which that was a while ago. It's finally in the report. And June Garner. That name was not familiar to me. I'm not sure who that was, but those are the 2 that have passed on. We had several renewals, which is good.
Can you get closer to the mic?
Can you hear me?
That's better.
Better.
Is that better? I'm sorry. There were 2 people that had passed on. Levon Morgan, which was quite a while ago. It finally came up on this report. And June Garner. I don't know who that is. I'm not sure who June Garner was, but she had passed on as well. We had many renewals, which is good news. There were about 10 renewals on the report for September. The other thing I wanted to mention, and it will go in our minutes when we send out the report, is there will be a November meeting, but no December meeting. We don't usually meet in December unless you want to change that by doing it online.
No, you said.
Okay, I didn't think so. Other than that, that's pretty much it. It's been pretty quiet.
In case I forget further down the line while we're talking about membership, there is, starting in January 1st, there's going to be a dues increase of $8.
Oh.
Okay. I didn't have that.
And even if you're not due to come up, say like I've never gone on the dues withholding, Cheryl has. I encourage everyone to do that if they're comfortable with that. But you can go ahead of time if you renew before December 31st or January 1st. You can renew for say 1 or 2 years or 3 years at the current rate. It's my understanding.
Oh, okay. So you save some money.
So if that's important to you, encourage you to do that.
Okay.
Cheryl's got a couple of things under her report. I think you might mention your Anna.
Okay. There on the NARFE website, there's going to be a webinar this Thursday, October 22nd at 2 p.m. And the webinar is regarding Medicare Part B. That's entitled "To Be or Not to Be, Is Medicare Part B Right for You?" So you might want to put that on your calendar. The other thing is that the F100 for life events, that is also on the NARFE website. And if you wanted to go online to fill that out if you haven't already. Let's see. One of the members of NARFE, she's almost 90 years old. Anyway, she gave me a call because she was having trouble getting her magazine. Well, come to find out she needed to renew. And Annie McMillan, she couldn't get to our meetings because she needs to take 2 buses to get to the, and with her advanced age, she couldn't, but she did renew for 2 years, and she's on the call list. So
I spoke with her as well, Cheryl. I talked with her yesterday to verify that everything was updated and she was fine.
Yeah, she was quite upset when she hadn't gotten her magazine because she apparently is one that reads it.
Yes.
Cover to cover.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, let me look at what you have. The speaker for the upcoming webinar is Tammy Flanagan, and she's done a number of these, and she's very knowledgeable and I think a good speaker. The Area 6 Vice President refers to her as his retirement goddess. So I don't know. Anyway, let's see. All right, just a couple things on the update on the Federation. I may have been mentioned last year, Carolyn London is the new membership coordinator. Jim Kane, who has a very varied Indian senior career in senior management, senior executive service in 2 departments, and very impressive career as the Area 3 Vice President. There's also a brand new Area 4 Vice President, Sam Pipkin, and he has, I understand, an excellent background as well. Since no one actually ran to be Area 5 Vice President, I've been appointed as the interim Area 5 VP. So that's going to be part of my portfolio as immediate past president. Their new NARFE is offering, as they do often during the last 4 months of the year, or now 3 months, anybody that's able to recruit a new member will get a $10 rebate or bonus, recruitment bonus. And the Federation just this week voted, like Colorado did, that we're going to double that. So if any of us can find somebody to recruit before the end of the year, you'll get a $20 rebate. And in addition to that, there's going to be you would be eligible for a drawing for a couple of prizes. I think a couple gift certificates, and then a sort of grand prize of a Kindle book, something along that line. I'm not sure the brand of it, but anyway. And also, there will be an upcoming go-to-meeting offered for membership chairs and for chapter presidents. That's going to be put together pretty soon. And there may be a couple more details about that we'll include in the minutes. Okay. Jim, do you want to tell us about upcoming meeting?
Yeah. Of course, next month in November, it'll be the annual Blue Cross Blue Shield meeting. I think Patsy Ziegler is actually going to be the speaker. Is that correct, Tom?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. She's always does a great job. In January, we're going to have Dr. Kyle Horton. You remember she spoke with us last year in 2019. Yeah. She's going to talk about the hospital deal, what that's looking like, and how is that good for us. And we'll get a lot of information there, I think. In February, I think we'll try to have the mayor. That is about the time that he likes to practice his speech that he's going to be given the rest of the year for the city of Wilmington. So he practices on us, and that's a good thing. And he's always entertaining, as you well know. In March, we'll try to get someone for taxes. I'm not sure we can get the same lady. I've had some not successful contacting her, but I'll be able to come up with somebody, I think. And then we'll go from there. And as always, if you have people you think would be good to speak to us, I'd like to know about it. We can talk about it and work them into the schedule.
Sounds good. We did talk possibly the aquarium is back open, and
Right.
consider
I'll check
somebody-
that. I'll check that as well.
And a couple of things I spoke with Patsy Ziegler a couple of days ago and confirmed she does plan to be speaking personally. They're doing everything virtually. Their building is still closed. They're not sending any goodies this year. They're not going to have bags or any of those things. There will be an ability to request provider books or other information online, and I'm sure she'll be talking about that. And she's going to have some visuals that she's going to either send to us or work out. She did ask me to announce a couple other things. They always hold these briefings for multiple places from the October 27th and 29th. I doubt any of our folks want to do it, but it is going to be available. And something else very special she's going to do is the November 11th. It's going to be a special briefing just for retirees. There'll be a question and answer if you have any questions you specifically want to answer.
That's an interesting date, Veterans Day.
Right.
Will we be getting more information about that, Tom?
I believe we will, yes. I will request that from her, and I'll get that. In fact, I'll see if I can get more detail before we put it in the minutes before we send those out. I think that's all on there. I mentioned last time that I'd say a little bit about the national bylaws that were approved in the election. Pretty much they followed the recommendations of the National Bylaws Committee that was is chaired by Robert Allen, our past president in the Federation. Voting was a limit. I won't cover all of these, but there was a measure to eliminate resolutions from bylaws that was adopted. Federation mergers would be permitted. I don't know if you all know the early history of the North Carolina Federation. There was originally the Carolina Federation, and it was North Carolina and South Carolina. Conceivably, if chapters continue to close, that might something like that could have conceivably happened. I think up in New England, there's 2 or 3 federations that are actively talking about merging. And I mentioned the dues increase. I think those are the most important things. If you want more information, it is available on the NARFE website.
It's also the Beacon came out, so there's information on that.
I'm sorry, Will?
The Beacon came out, so I think there's a lot of information on that in the Beacon.
Right. In fact, thank you. I had that on my notes here to mention that. Yes, the Beacon just came out. I think there is quite a lot of good information. Velma Geisert, who had agreed to be the editor, is having to step back from that, at least temporarily. She's having some pretty serious health issues, but is improving. But if anybody would be interested in participating in being editor in some way for the Beacon, that would be greatly welcomed. I could provide information about that. The last item, our November meeting, in addition to being our presentation from Blue Cross Blue Shield, it will also be our annual meeting, and it will include the election of officers for next year. Judy Pierce has agreed to be the nominating chair, and she'll be getting information out, of which soon I'm going to work with her on that, on which of our current officers are still able to continue to serve, but also how anyone else that would like to either be to run for office or be appointed for office could let her know. So we'll be working on that. Again, really want us to encourage contributing to the Salvation Army and also to Alzheimer's. The address for Bob and for John Gordon will be included with the minutes. John was going to try to call in today, and I see he was not able to do that. But Judy had a question about how the process is going in terms of checks being cleared. The way checks go is they go to John. John will send them to Vivian Bear, the Federation coordinator, who then sends them to the Alzheimer's Association in Chicago, and then they deposit the checks. It generally takes about 3 weeks after Vivian sends them in till they're cleared. We'll be checking on ours to see if it clears and all, but that's how the process works.
Tom, can I just jump in? By the way, those of you that sent me checks, I'm still holding until we get a few more. So although you sent them to me in September, they might not clear till later in October. So a lot of people worry when their check doesn't clear. As I'm not going to run down there. I'm hoping we get a few more before I take them down.
Thanks, Bob. Are there any other issues or questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, I would say get in line to eat, but
Stay well, everyone.
stay well and
Thank you, Bob.
have something
Well said.
healthy but tasty for lunch.
Take care, everybody.
Hey,
Take care.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for
And Jim, thank you for, if he's still there, thank you for taking over.
and Glenn, thank you for and Bill Guyton for handling the technical piece here. We couldn't do this without you guys.
Very good meeting.
Done it without Glenn, that's for sure. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take
Take
care.
care. Have a good
Bye-bye.